Welcome to a new episode of the Cigar Snob Podcast. I am Nick Jimenez, joined by Eric Calvino.
Yep.
And Ivan Ocampo.
Hello, hello.
We are going to get into all sorts of stuff, including the passing of Stephen Hawking, a funky cigar that we're smoking right now, St. Patrick's Day things, which is connected to the funky cigar in a funky sort of way, and Nicaraguan trips, all sorts of things. But before we get into all that, a word from our sponsor, Villiger Cigars. Villiger Cigars, celebrating 130 years in tobacco, unveils its first ever full-bodied premium handmade cigar in the Villiger La Vencedora. The Villiger La Vencedora is the follow-up cigar to the highly acclaimed Villiger La Flor de Inclán and Villiger Sandoro Colorado. This Nicaraguan puro, wrapped in a beautiful Nicaraguan Habano puro wrapper, boasts a potent, full-bodied smoking experience featuring highly seasoned, hearty flavors. The Villiger La Vencedora, which translates to the Victor, emits a billowing aromatic smoke throughout the smoky experience. The Villiger La Vencedora, a palate-pleasing, full-bodied, yet elegant cigar that will satisfy the cigar connoisseur as well as the casual smoker. All right, and we're back. As always, we're starting this episode's Jibber Jabber with a featured cigar. This is what we'll be smoking for the duration of this episode of the podcast. We are here with the MUWAT Kentucky Fire-Cured Swamp Rat. So, people who are familiar with Kentucky Fire-Cured know this is the fire-cured tobacco cigar line from Drew Estate. This is a little bit different. Before we get into that, though, I will read, as we usually do, a little bit from their website about the cigar. Quote, "This thing should not be. And it's a deeply disturbing, yet pleasing smoke. Deep in the swamps, it is lurking, waiting to be discovered. By pairing this deliciously sweet Candela wrapper with the smoky and tasty Kentucky Fire-Cured tobaccos, an eerie mystery has been revealed for a unique and powerful experience."
Okay, Nick.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Oh, yeah. So,
Wait, you worked that, buddy.
oh, baby. So Swamp Rat was part of a group of like 3/4 Candela wrapped cigars. So there was Swamp Fang Robusto, which was a 5x54, Swamp Fang Toro 6x52, and then the Swamp Rat Toro, which, even though it is also a Toro, is a slightly different Toro at 6x46. So we're smoking that 6x4,
like a large Corona.
yeah. So we're doing the 6x46 Swamp Rat. It's got a Candela wrapper, which for those of you who are not aware, Candela is a green tobacco. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea with Candela translates to candle, and the idea is that it's a higher heat.
Candela is fire.
Yeah, right. And it's a higher heat curing, so it retains some of that chlorophyll.
Yeah, it fixes that color
Exactly.
during curing.
Right, exactly. So, and then at least according to what I was seeing online, the binder and filler are a mystery, as is suggested by that stuff that I read earlier. So we know that 3/4 of this, roughly, maybe even a little more than 3/4, is covered in Candela, and then the portion above the band has Kentucky Fire-Cured wrapper.
Yeah, so on your lips you've got the Kentucky Fire Cured, and then what you're burning is the Candela.
Exactly, yeah. So so it's a little bit different from the other KFC stuff, which didn't have this Candela wrapper, and to me anyway, it sort of tempers that smoky
Totally.
KFC thing. What do you guys feel about it so far?
Is there any fire-cured tobacco in the filler?
It's a question, so we don't know.
It's a question, but I think
But I
there
think
is.
it would, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, because the aroma I'm getting of the fire-cured tobacco, I get it from the entire cigar.
and I don't know. We could cut this guy and figure it out, but I'm gonna guess that the entire cigar has been wrapped in Kentucky Fire Cured, and then the Candela is a secondary wrapper on top of it.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
All right.
We'll cut it before we get to the band and figure it out.
So it is an interesting aroma it has.
No doubt, man. It's freaking barbecue and grass and
Copenhagen.
It does have a little Copenhagen. You're right. I hadn't thought of it that way. But But yeah, well, so why are we smoking this, Nick?
We are smoking this because it's St. Patrick's Day on Saturday, and we thought we should do something green. And as everybody knows, St. Patrick was born in a swamp. So this was just
swamp in Limerick.
fitting all around. That's why he had that relationship he had with rats and the whole thing. So swamp rat for St. Patrick's Day. I'm into it. You know, I actually like these personally better than I like the core KFC stuff.
Me too, because they have it's a unique profile, right? You don't find this every day, and although the regular KFC is also unique,
Right.
I mean that's, but it to me is a little bit overpowering. Whereas this, like you said earlier, tempers it.
This brings it a little bit of balance. And I talked to people who are all about KFC. But for me, I like just the hint. So anyway, we will revisit this cigar. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about what's
without having to cut it open. The Kentucky Fire. So the entire wrapper is Candela, and then the Kentucky Fire Cured is on top of it.
Okay.
So
which makes sense because you can see it when you
exactly. That's exactly why I looked, because I saw yours.
Yeah. So it's Candela all throughout the whole cigar, and they put a section of Kentucky Fire Cured wrapper that ends under the band. In the next issue of Cigar Snob magazine, we will have a lot of content related to boats. So
Word.
Eric, you were on a boat.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I was born on a boat. No.
In a swamp.
In a swamp with a thing and a rat. We did the. I think we talked about it, but we talked about it briefly in an earlier episode. But yeah, we took old Nestor Miranda out for a boat ride. Hit a bunch of different spots throughout Miami that you can dock up to, right? So that was pretty cool. And then the next day we went and hung out with Victor Calvo, Charles Lopez of Yayawo,
Miguel Pinto.
Yeah, Victor Calvo Jr. and Miguel Pinto of Victor Calvo Cigars. So we went up and visited Miguel's store, which you can't pull up to on a boat, but it is very close to a dock. So what we did is we docked at Duffy's and then took an Uber. Actually, Miguel gave us a ride to his store. But yeah, you'll be able to read about all of that in the issue coming out next week. So
cool.
Got a whole travel piece, and the idea is to give readers kind of a blueprint of how to do that themselves if they want to travel down to Miami and take that kind of trip. We give you pretty much the itinerary there from top to bottom, even a place to stay. So I think Miami's one of the only places you can really do that, at least in the U.S.
I don't know about that. I've never researched it, but I think there's other places, maybe on rivers or bays out on the West Coast that you can probably get to a couple places. But no, you're probably right. This might be one of the better locations.
Well, I mean, we went out to Key Biscayne, had lunch out there, which for those of you that don't know is a key out in the middle of Biscayne Bay. And then we came back up into the river. We went to places on the river. We went up the intercoastal and visit. So I don't know if there's a place that has such a large geographic area that you can go up and down and with a variety of different options. Key Biscayne being, one side of it being facing the ocean and the other side being on the bay. Yeah, you've got a variety of things you can do. So I thought that was pretty cool to do that and smoke cigars throughout, because all these places that are on the water, they have a terrace. Mm-hmm. So you can smoke cigars, and the cigars are welcome just about all those places. So
the timing was interesting too, because the boat show was going on at the same time.
The boat show was going on, which made it a little bit difficult to get dock space, but we were able to do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So we talked about the boat show before.
Yeah.
Only one of us here though is a boat owner.
Yes.
That is you, Eric.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit. How long have you been a boat owner?
Well, so my dad has had a boat my entire life. Okay, but I'm not counting that.
Sure.
As far as me owning a boat myself, for the last 4 years.
So there's that cliche of the 2 best days of a boat owner's life are the day he buys it, the day he sells it.
Yeah. Now, again, because of the way that I've grown up, in terms of my family always being boaters, I don't really fit into that because we do use it. Right now, it's in the Keys at a friend's house, but now when the weather gets good, once the summer rolls around, we start to go out on that thing all the time. So we go down to the Keys, and we'll spend the day out on the boat. So we use it a lot, but I do understand when people say that, right? Because there's a lot of expenses on a boat. Like, for example, I'm saying that about how we're going to go out in the summer, and we'll take the boat out. Well, before I do, I will have to, like, for example, I know I need to change the hubs on the trailer. There's a bunch of things that you'll always need to fix before you start going out because you don't want things breaking down. So you got to do an oil change. You got to change all these little hoses that start to get cracked and sunburnt. So, yeah, it's you got to really like it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just charter a boat.
Right. Ivan, do you do a lot of boating?
Yeah. I enjoy wearing the captain's hat.
Right. Even when you're not on a boat.
Drinking Bud Light when I go out there. So, yeah, I love boating.
Bud Light, now that I don't subscribe to.
Oh, don't knock it, man.
If I'm gonna drink something, I'd rather drink something good. I'm not a fan.
Ivan, do we have a debate, bro? The great Bud Light debate of 2018.
No, if I'm gonna drink, I want to drink something good. So I probably will pass on a Bud Light all day.
What are your So there's a question, right? Somebody comes in from out of town, and maybe they're not as familiar with local beers. That's a thing that somebody would stock up on. What do you recommend they take out on a boat?
So first, you want to get canned beer if you're going to be on a boat, right? Because you can obviously deal with bottles, but if you're going to be boating in, say, Biscayne Bay, which is a national park, they're gonna want you to, and you're planning on going ashore on one of the keys, like Elliott Key or something like that. You're gonna want cans. Because the park rangers are going to probably ask you to not bring those bottles aboard ashore. So you start with a canned item. I like Dale's. Dale's Pale Ale is a perfect canned beer for summer. It's flavorful. It's got a little bit of hops, but it's not so heavy, right? I don't like heavy beers when you're boating. But I also like for it to have flavor. So I think Dale's Pale Ale is a perfect boating beer.
I think we should tell our readers to look out for the upcoming issue. We're also going to have a drink guide.
This is true.
So we'll have some drinks that you can have on your boat excursion.
Very good. Now, before we transition to a topic we already brought up, St. Patrick's Day, we have some things to say about our friends at El Galán Cigars, a sponsor of this episode. El Galán Reserva Especial comes in 4 sizes, all box pressed. Airosos, which is a 5x52, the 5 3/4 by 54 Apuestos, the 6x52 Torpedo Gallardos, the 6x60 Obesos, all of which are 100% Nicaraguan cigars with Jalapa Oscuro wrappers, available in stores nationwide. Check out their website at elgalancigars.com or look for them on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. El Galán Cigars, ELGALAN Cigars for El Galán Cigars.
I like that Reserva.
Reserva Especial is good.
It's a solid smoke, man.
Absolutely.
We talk about it all the time. Yeah. I love that smoke. Love the people behind it. It's good stuff.
So he did some... was this the first year that he did tours with Puro Sabor?
Yes, it was. That's going to show up. Some shots there are going to show up in the upcoming issue also. Yeah,
so this next issue of the magazine will have a whole bunch of photos so that if you missed it, you can take a look at what it was like to be at both of the big cigar festivals at Puro Sabor, which is the Nicaraguan festival, and Pro Cigar, which is the Dominican one. And we've talked a little bit about that, but were there things that made it different for you this time around? Puro Sabor?
Oh,
you weren't there very long, but...
I really did. I only showed up that last night,
right?
Which was the gala, and I think the only different thing about the gala was that I presented Plasencia cigars with the Cigar of the Year plaque.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I just, like I said, I was only there the last night.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time you'll be luckier. Like the luck of the Irish. It's St. Patrick's Day on Saturday. What do you guys do for St. Patrick's Day?
Well, so we've got a lot of work to do. So I probably won't be partying it up too much, but we are bringing in some food coloring, and we are going to dye our Freedom Tower from the Tank Brewing, which we have here on tap at the office. So we are going to have that so that we can celebrate a little St. Patty's here in the office.
Cool.
And we'll find some other green cigar to smoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not going to be a big party weekend. It used to be, right? We used to go to John Martin's and get stupid.
Yeah, there's a lot of good parties down here. My wife's out of town this weekend, so I'll be babysitting.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's what happens when you get old.
That's fun. What about you, Nick? You're the youngest one.
I might also be the most boring one. I've never made a big thing of St. Patrick's Day. I think the most St. Patrick's Day-y thing that I've done was in college. I think college towns, for obvious reasons, are very into St. Patrick's Day. Same reason as Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Just a lot of beer. People are into it. But yeah, I went to school in Columbia, Missouri, so not a lot to do except look for excuses to drink and be on the street, peeing on the sidewalk, and all that sort of thing. So this is the day to do it. If you're going to pee on a sidewalk, pencil yourself in for Saturday.
Don't do it in New Orleans.
Right. Any past St. Patrick's Days that come to mind?
Well, you forget everything about them. But yeah, like I said, we used to have a good time at John Martin's in Coral Gables growing up here. Old Ocampo and I.
Yeah, it's funny. People make a thing of like the cultural aspect of it and the how the Irish feeling this. But honestly, like being Cuban, if there was a day of the year where everybody just got drunk on rum and wore guayaberas in the street, I'd be super into it.
Yeah, no
be
problem.
All about that. Like I have no problem with that whatsoever. I will gladly trade with the Irish for a day of everybody pretending to be Cuban and drunk.
Hey, you know what we've left out of the boating thing? The boat names.
Boat names, that's right. I totally glossed over that.
That is not cool by you, Nick.
I know.
So in the story that's going to show up in the next issue, we chartered a boat that was called Cigar Life. Sea as in the sea, the old man in the sea. Yeah. Gar Life. So anyway, I thought that was a cool name. And down here in South Florida, you see a lot of interesting boat names that have the word cigar in it, right? So if you had a boat, what name would you give it that was cigar related?
You got anything, Ivan?
Tits and Ash.
Tits and Ash.
Hey there.
Somebody's got that. I probably stole that from somebody. I don't know how
Pretty good, though.
I pulled that out.
The first thing that comes to my mind is V Cutter.
That's pretty good.
So yeah. I put a lot of thought.
No, mine would be boring.
What you got?
But no, it'd be like something like Ligero Living or
Ligero Living.
So ligero being that it's light living, but tobacco reference.
So if you see any of these boats on the water, you know who they belong to.
I wish I could remember that. There's a bunch of cigar industry guys who have boats that have cigar names.
Yeah.
And I just can't think of any right now.
We'll have to come back with that. Maybe if we
ever do another boating issue.
Well, we can edit it into here. We have the technology
okay.
to look it up and edit it in here if we figure it out. And if we don't figure it out, then too bad for you. Back to this featured cigar. Again, we are smoking the MUWAT Kentucky Fire
My
Cured.
Uzi weighs a ton.
Right, but they're supposed to just say
I know.
Yeah. My Uzi weighs a ton.
I just like that song, though.
It is good. It is, and my Uzi weighs. I mean, it's a shame that they can't run with my Uzi weighs a ton because that is a cool ass name. We did a shoot with MUWAT.
We did.
Yeah. Well, this was before
the
I
MUWAT cigar,
before
yes.
I was in the Wii. Although I think I wrote something as a freelancer in that issue. But yeah.
Only photo shoot with an actual Uzi in it. So
that's right. There was an Uzi in that photo shoot. Not the only one with guns, but the only one with an Uzi. Right. So how is it? How are you guys feeling with this? It's mellowed for me a little bit.
for sure. Mellowed a bit, but still entertaining. I'm still enjoying it. I know it's funky, right? So I know that I always end up saying that I enjoy a cigar, even though, right? But I do. I mean, my job is to smoke a lot of different cigars, so I can appreciate the things that are well done about it. And you know what? The construction is solid. The flavors that it's going for are funky, but they're there and they work.
Yeah.
There's nothing offensive about it, so I enjoy it, man. I would do it again.
I thought it was mellow from the beginning. It really didn't come
It
out.
like hits you in the nose at first, and that's about it.
That's about it. And once you light up, it was smooth all the way through.
And I like that they went with the fire cured stuff just on the top of the cigar, or not just there. I'm sure there's more in the filler, but it's nice to, even though you're burning that candela, you get the flavors on the lips.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a cool balance that comes there. I know we talked about balance the first time around, but I think that achieving it that way, with balancing what's on your palate with what's on your lips, is kind of an interesting way to go about it. So
Yeah, I don't know what the conversations were like when they were first blending this cigar, but I imagine someone saying like, well, yeah, I mean, the candela, the aroma's nice and it's interesting and different, but man, I don't like that green stuff on my lips.
Yeah.
Oh, why don't we put some Kentucky Fire Cured on the end?
yeah.
It almost seems like they went through that, right?
I think it's a well thought out cigar for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I enjoy the Fire Cured, that flavor that it has on your lips and on your tongue, so
Yeah.
I dig it.
So this is a very unconventional cigar, but in this next issue of the magazine, there will be an article about my visit to Nicaragua to meet the makers of what are very proudly conventional cigars.
Ultra conventional.
Ultra convention. So in this next issue, there's going to be a piece on Aganorsa tobacco and the people behind it. Eric, you've been the magazine started at just before the time that Eduardo Fernandez came onto the scene, because I think he started buying land or started planting in the late 90s. I think it was like 97, 98. So what's your perspective been on...
Well, the magazine started in 2006.
Right, no, but what I mean is that by the time he was putting cigars on the market and distributing that, I mean, they started planning, right?
Yeah.
So it was a while before they had built their stockpile of tobacco and were the force that they are now.
For sure.
Because even though they had this massive amount of land right out of the gate, you still have to grow and harvest and age.
Yeah.
So what's your perspective been on the sort of timeline of that company over the last maybe like 12 years or so?
So the one thing that I've noticed has changed, just slowly changing over the course of the last 12 years, is the respect that the other growers and the cigar makers have for the operation, right? For Aganorsa. They when they first started, it was almost like, look, here's another guy with a lot of money coming into this business and blowing it all with all the stuff he doesn't know what he's doing, blah blah blah, and also the tobacco not being very good. I would hear a lot of stories about that.
Yeah.
And then just little by little, people just going, holy shit, these guys are doing something really good.
Yeah.
And so that change has been remarkable, because there have been a lot of guys in this business that have come in with a ton of cash and blown it all. Mm-hmm. And that's nothing new. It still happens to this day.
How many guys have a Wharton degree, though?
That is true.
So for clarity, because some people may not be aware of the names of all these things, right? So, and you'll have the opportunity to dive deep into the story in the next issue of the magazine. But Aganorsa is the name of the agricultural conglomerate that was started by Eduardo Fernandez when he went to Nicaragua after a few years after selling his shares in Telepizza. So he and his brother founded Spain's biggest pizza delivery chain. So he decides, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Go to Nicaragua, going to be a farmer. That sounds like a cool way to do it. And next thing you know, he's got all this incredible tobacco, in large part because he brought all these Cubans in And this is what
literal
we're talking about.
Cuban people, not Cuban cigars.
Yeah, literal Cuban people in from Cuba. And this is what we were talking about with the Ultra Convention, right? So he came in totally as an outsider, but brought in these super traditionalists.
Expertise.
Yeah. And so their factory, Tabsa, which is in the process of a bit of a rebrand, so it'll also be known as the Aganorsa factory, is where a lot of Casa Fernandez stuff is made, as well as products from Warped, Ilusión. Is it Ilusión or Ilusioni?
I don't know. I always say Ilusión.
I think when I spoke to Dion, he might have said Ilusioni, but I don't know. Ilusioni, Foundation, Viaje,
Sindicato,
some HVC. So a lot of very well-respected cigars from brands that are known for their commitment to traditional methods, and a lot of that is because they have access to all of these traditionalists with incredible tobacco at Aganorsa. So that'll be in the next issue of the magazine. Ivan, do you have any favorite Aganorsa / Tabsa / Casa Fernandez cigars? I know we had that top 25, the Miami from their Miami factory. But do you have any that jump out to mind?
I love their cigars so much, from their private labels to their own. Probably the regular Casa Fernandez Aganorsa.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the ones in our top 25 are tremendous, right? That San Isidro, the HVC San Isidro,
right,
and the Casa Fernandez Miami Aniversario.
Yeah, and the Sindicato Miami.
And the Sindicato Miami, also excellent. But if I had to pick one, I would definitely go with that Lancero, the Casa Fernandez Miami Aniversario Lancero. Good God, that's good.
Yeah. So coming back home from Nicaragua, we are right on the cusp of March Madness. So every year we do a little bit of a March Madness bracket pool here. What are we all throwing into the pot this time around? What is it, $2?
Yeah.
$2?
I'll go 5. I'll go whatever you guys want.
5. Let's round it
5?
up.
Okay.
Oh, man.
He's feeling cocky.
Oh.
$2 Chuck over here.
He's feeling cocky.
$2 Chuck. Come on.
Ivan, what's your approach to putting your bracket together?
Okay, full disclosure, I probably watch 2 college basketball games a year. So, and if it's usually a better team, whatever game that is that I watch, that's probably the team that I'll write out if they look good in that game to the end of the bracket. And then everything else, I'll pick a favorite. I don't like picking a lot of upsets because I've tried that in the past and I end up with a bracket full of losses. So I'll just take all the higher seeds and then one of the teams of the games that I watched. That's what I do.
I don't have a real, I'm very systematic in most things in life, but when it comes to picking my bracket,
mascots.
No, I'll just feel it out, and I always do horribly. So it's not like it's a system that works, but it's a combination of trying to feel out what upset, right? Because otherwise I'm going with the favorite. And then trying to feel what upset, right? Sadly, this year, one of the upsets that I'm feeling is against my own team. I'm feeling that Loyola Chicago team upsetting the Canes.
Why?
That's a good team. It's a good team. They, from what I heard from the Larinaga press conference, that team has only lost twice when they've played with their starting point guard, who is back from injury. So, I don't know. Our Canes team is a young team. They get rattled.
You heard it here first, folks. Lead pipe lock. Loyola of Chicago.
Lead pipe lock.
Call us at 1-800-325-4600 if you want more picks.
You know, the only person who references a lead pipe lock is a degenerate gambler. There's more than half the listeners out there have no idea what the hell a lead pipe lock is.
I'm lost.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I kind of figure more or less, but
so there is these guys who will rent out radio airspace on like Saturday mornings and give you their picks. And the idea is they'll give you a lock, a lead pipe lock, for you to call in and I don't know, spend a couple dollars. I don't know. You do this. I don't.
Oh, I do this. My only lead pipe lock is whenever you say, give anybody the kiss of death, saying that they're going to win.
Yeah, I am.
I go the other way.
I am deadly.
Oh, boy.
Deadly. So right now, I think I just subversively screwed up Loyola.
Of course. Way to go, Canes. Good win.
What's the best you've ever made out, either of you, in
Whether
it's this or any other? Yeah. Whether it was March Madness or any other game or sporting thing that you bet on, what's the best you've ever done, or the worst you've ever lost?
Probably I would like to say
Just $1,000,
maybe 200.
maybe 200.
If the IRS is listening.
Eric,
No, I don't. I really don't gamble. I don't. I enjoy it. I watch all the stuff, but I don't gamble.
You're a slots guy.
No, I don't. I don't throw away money. It's just not something I do.
yeah, I want to say that the peak of my gambling success was like a $10 Brown Derby win, something like that. So
Nice, the Derby.
yeah, the Derby. Yeah, the Derby's a big deal here in South Florida, anyway.
I love betting ponies.
Alrighty, so with that, we will hear from our show sponsor, Villiger Cigars. Villiger Cigars is celebrating 130 years in tobacco and unveiling its first ever full-bodied premium handmade cigar in the Villiger La Vencedora. It's a follow-up to the highly acclaimed Villiger La Flor de Inclán and Villiger Sandoro Colorado. The Nicaraguan Puro is wrapped in a beautiful Nicaraguan Habano Oscuro wrapper and boasts a potent full-bodied smoking experience featuring highly seasoned, hearty flavors. The Villiger La Vencedora is a palate-pleasing, full-bodied yet elegant cigar that will satisfy the cigar connoisseur as well as the casual smoker. Make sure that you visit Villiger online at villigercigars.com. Check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/villiger.northamerica. Twitter at Villiger Cigars, that's cigars with an S at the end, and Instagram at Villiger Cigar. Just Villiger Cigar, no S at the end, on Instagram. All right, and we're back. As always, we are going to wrap up with our parting recommendations. This is the portion where we let you know what you should eat, smoke, drink, buy, watch, do, or whatever else it may be. Guys, what are you recommending to the people?
To the people.
Ivan?
What do you got, Ivan?
I have a libation. I don't know where I got that from, but it sounds retarded.
I like the word, though.
Okay.
Classes it up.
So, before you start talking shit, I've drank most of this bottle,
Yes, you have.
but it is excellent. So, I don't know how we got it. Well, I do know how we got it, but whatever. We can talk about it later. I have a bottle of Jack Daniel's Gentleman Jack Double Mellowed. I don't know what that means. Tennessee whiskey. But it also has the insignia of Villiger La Vencedora on it. So
Yeah, that was the bottle that Villiger sent in as part of their campaign. They're doing a whole campaign with Jack Daniel's called the Jack Daniel's Cigar Series, and it's a series of events that they're doing. There's upcoming ones as he pours out some of it.
Dude, I have to get in
character
here.
Time.
Yeah.
So they've got some events coming up as part of this Jack Daniel's cigar series, and so let me see. I got the Sabor Havana, March 22nd on a Thursday, 6 to 9, and you've got Tobacco Plaza in New York. That's March 29th. And you got March 28th in Weehawken, New Jersey, Havana on the Hudson. So anyway, those are the three events coming up for those guys. They're going to be pairing Gentleman Jack with La Vencedora. So
George, if you're listening, I'm coming to your event and I'm drinking all your Gentleman Jack. It's delicious.
So
good stuff.
You were mentioning earlier about the double mellowed.
Yeah.
So one of the things that makes Jack Daniel's distinctive is that they mellow their whiskey by filtering it through, according to this, 10 feet of hard sugar maple charcoal. So I imagine that this either goes through that.
By the
twice.
way, I've been on the tour, and
Yeah.
that is 100% true.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you see them doing it.
Why would they lie?
Well, no, you know that many of these companies bullshit, but
Oh.
these guys, they really aren't. And the day that we were there, they were burning that maple to make more charcoal.
So do they burn like pallets or something?
It is a massive, tall tower of pallets.
Burning Man type situation.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's impressive. But yeah, as you're walking through a certain part of it, you'll see the whiskey coming through, just trickling down through that charcoal. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. So I guess this goes through that twice.
Okay.
Mellower.
Thanks for clarifying that. I
Anytime.
was still gonna drink it, even if they put it through it once.
Or not at all. But no. Anyway, those events should be cool. We're gonna go out there, right?
Yeah,
To
for
Sabor
sure.
Havana.
Good stuff. Eric, any recommendations for the people?
So, man, I've been using this Yeti tumbler that my brother gave me a couple months back, and I freaking love it, man. So it's a Yeti tumbler. It's just amazing for coffee, for cold beverages, hot beverages. For example, I've been driving a lot lately, and so I'll stop at a Dunkin' Donuts, get a cup, fill up the tumbler with coffee, and that coffee will stay hot till like 4 p.m. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. As a matter of fact, here at the office, when I brew coffee here, instead of leaving it in the pot on top of the burner, where it dries out and changes in flavor, I'll just pour it into this, and I use it like a thermos almost. So anyway, totally impressed by the Yeti tumbler, and I've got a little bit of a trick that you can do to get them for a discount, because they're a little pricey. It's like $25-$30 for a tumbler. But if you go on Dick's Sporting Goods and you search Yeti tumbler, if you have patience, if you're trying to buy a Yeti tumbler like now, no, but you search for it, within a couple days, Dick's Sporting Goods is going to send you a coupon, and you can use it to buy your Yeti tumbler. So anyway, go out and get one of those things. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned more than once. Like
Non-stop.
you'll come in with hot coffee, and at the end of the workday, it's still piping hot.
It's amazing, man.
Like it's steaming and everything.
It's just like you say it and you can't even believe it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was bullshit until you opened it up at the end of the day, and I was like, that's the same
I'll
coffee.
pour it
that
into a glass and you'll see the steam and you'll be like,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This might be an item for a test lab.
Cigar Snob
Oh,
Labs.
very true.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Cool.
Why don't you only think of things when we're on the podcast? Is that what happens?
I save my stuff for
save
on
it,
air, man.
Write it down, people. So my recommendation is a Netflix series that the 3rd season was just released. It is called Love, and it is not as cheesy or chick flicky. Yeah, as that would suggest. It stars Gillian Jacobs and Paul Rust. So Gillian Jacobs is an actress who you know from Community, the sitcom. She was on Girls, Hot Tub Time Machine 2, and Paul Rust is the guy who created the show and stars in it. So it's kind of like a rom-com-y thing, but more of like an adult comedy situation. So the whole thing is like he's a really geeky teacher on a Hollywood movie set for like kid stars, and she's an alcoholic kind of screw up character, but very much worth watching if you're into comedies and something that your lady can enjoy as well.
You sure it wasn't the other way around?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that.
No, I think she did pick it out, but it ended up being something that we
you think?
enjoyed just as much. No, really, it's not, because you see the marketing for it, and you think this is total rom-com-y, insufferable stuff, but it's good. It's not. I wouldn't put it in the rom-com genre, despite the name and all that. So
Do you get to pick any movies at home?
I do. I actually made my wife watch Schindler's List. She had never seen it, and I've been on her for years and years.
You've been on her for years and years. Thank
Yeah,
God.
well, I mean,
I got it's you that's on
That's
her.
part of the way this works. So, yeah, there's nothing says sexy time like Schindler's List.
Oh yeah.
I've done it. And I'll tell you the funny part. I put in the second disc because there's a 2-disc DVD. I put the second in first. And I go, this makes no sense.
Oh, because you hadn't seen it when you did this.
I hadn't seen it.
Oh,
I'm like, this
okay.
makes no sense.
Starting
I'm
at
like,
halfway
let's just
through.
go straight to sexy time.
That's good stuff.
So I am going to make a second recommendation. I know that I do this all the time, but this time is really not so much a personal recommendation as it is a response to some feedback we've gotten through the podcast. And that is, I think some people are coming across this podcast who don't even know that we print a magazine. So,
good point.
FYI to the people.
To the peoples.
The Cigar Snob podcast is a relatively new project of a magazine that has been around for quite a long time. You can check us out at cigarsnobmag.com and subscribe to the print magazine at cigarsnobmag.com/subscription. That's 6 issues for $18. So pretty good deal.
You can also get on issue.com, ISSUU, and subscribe there.
ISSUU.com and look for Cigar Snob magazine. Or they could probably just look up Cigar Snob, right? We're going to be the only cigar snobs on there.
Yep.
So yeah, you'll get an issue every 2 months. We got all kinds of stuff in there, some of which you've heard us talk about here on the podcast, but we have gotten notes on Facebook and social media from people who seem like they came to us through this podcast saying, hey, where do I get this magazine? I've never heard of you guys before. And that's only begun to happen because of this podcast. You'd figure, most people before were finding our magazine, and then it's obvious enough that we have one.
Yep.
So yeah, cigarsnobmag.com/subscription. With that, you guys have anything else for us?
That's all.
That's it.
All right, so thanks for listening to the Cigar Snob podcast. You can find us again at cigarsnobmag.com. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at cigarsnobmag, and look for Cigar Snob on Facebook and Google+. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Happy St. Patty's Day!
Rest in peace, Stephen Hawkins.
It doesn't have an S.
Stephen Hawking.
It's only one Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.